Hey guys and welcome, my name is Rezero and this is my first mod spotlight. In this mod spotlight I'm going to be reviewing a new mod that is still under construction called GlowTools. Now, as the name may suggest, this mod is sort of built around several tools that can produce light, and of course there's a lot more to it. Even though it's still under construction, I was baffled by the amount of stuff that's already been added to it. So this could take a while for me to explain everything to you. So I've built a little testing facility up here. Let's go up there. Welcome. And in here I will demonstrate to you all of the aspects of the GlowTools mod. Now the first thing I will need to do is get me some coal. There we go. Because I'm going to show you the first thing I noticed in this mod, which is the addition of a sort of melted redstone. And it's actually called melted redstone. So basically you can melt redstone, and over here you'll notice that you can do the exact same thing with glowstone dust. So this will produce melted glowstone. Now let's get rid of those. Now the first thing you can do with these is you can produce glowing iron ingots by having an iron ingot combined with a piece of melted glowstone dust, or you can produce a red iron ingot, which is essentially the same thing but with a redstone, a melted redstone. So if I get some of these here. Okay, I need some iron. There we go. So the next recipe requires more of that melted glowstone and redstone. And this is essentially blazing blend. Now we'll see later that this can be used for several things as well. But this basically combines the melted redstone with the melted glowstone and some blaze powder. Now the next thing you will see is that there are actually nuggets for the glowing iron ingot. So that's the glowing iron nugget, and there are also nuggets for the red iron ingots, which are the red iron nuggets. Aside from that, we can also create blocks, which are the block of glowing iron and the block of red iron. Now I do have to mention that you get 2 blocks of each every time, and each block can be converted back into 4 ingots, so you always lose 1 ingot if you convert them back from a block. At the moment the red iron block and the glowing iron block are still completely decorative. However, my floor here is decorated with the glowing iron blocks, and if I switch to nighttime you will see that they light up the room, so they essentially act as a light source. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is true for the red iron blocks as well. Let's have a quick look at that, if I can find them in here. There they are. So these are the red iron blocks, and they also seem to produce light. Okay, let's head back in here. Now, when we go over here, we'll notice that we have the cadentinium ore. Now, I'm not sure where you find this. I haven't found it myself, but I'm sure you'll find it when you're mining somewhere. And when you smelt this, you get the cadentinium shards. Now, if we go over here, we can see that we can use the glowing iron ingots to create glowing iron swords, glowing iron axes, glowing iron pickaxes, glowing iron shovels, and the glowing iron hose. I'm not entirely sure what the durability of these is. This was not mentioned on the forum page as far as I'm aware. However, there are also some armor linked to this, for which you need the Candentinium shards. This is the stripy glowing iron helmet. Then we have the stripy glowing iron chest plate, the stripy glowing iron leggings, and finally the stripy glowing iron boots. Finally, of course, it's also possible to create a block of Candentinium, and this will only give you a single block for the 9 shards. However, it's currently not possible to convert this back into shards. Now when we go over here, we can see that when we combine a stick with the blazing blend, we get a red iron tool handle. Now this is fairly essential in the construction of red iron tools. I found that these are quite durable and quite powerful. So when I go back here and create some of these, you will see that we can create the red iron sword, the red iron axe, the red iron pickaxe, the red iron shovel, and the red iron hoe. Now here we will see another aspect of this mod, which is scepters. Now the first thing you have to do when you want to create a scepter is essentially create a scepter tip. I'm going to toss this out here for a second. The scepter tip is a vital part of the construction of essentially every scepter you can create here. And the first one is the Scepter of Light. Now, Scepter of Light requires some of the melted glowstone, some blazing blend, some golden carrots, some blaze rods, and of course the scepter tip. What's special about this scepter is that it gives you the well, let's switch to okay, so this gives you the night vision 2 effect, which essentially means that you can see everything at night, and I'm not entirely sure, but I also think you can see down to the bottom of water with this, but I'm not entirely sure about that. So anyway, it gives you the night vision effect. We go back to our crafting table here. We'll take a look at the next one. And this is the Scepter of Regeneration, which requires a diamond chest plate, the scepter tip, a glowing golden apple, so it's the expensive kind. Of course, also some gas steers, some blaze rods, and some of the blazing blend. Now what the Scepter of Regeneration does is it gives you the regeneration tree effect for 15 seconds. So this will essentially make sure that you are constantly regenerating. Of course, it's a fairly expensive staff to make, so I'm not sure if it's overpowered or not. But you can also upgrade this scepter into the Scepter of Regeneration Mark II. Now for this you will need some gold blocks, some diamonds, and some of the Candentinium shards. Now the Scepter of Regeneration Mark II essentially does the same thing as the scepter, well, the regular scepter. However, it gives you the regular regeneration effect for an entire minute. It also constantly restarting the effect, so it stays at 1 minute essentially. Okay, so that's basically it for the scepters. Then over here in the furnace we have some calcite. Now calcite is added to the world generation just like the Candentinium ore is, but it, as you can see here, is fairly abundant in the world. It sort of spawns everywhere. And I dug a small test hole over here somewhere. If I can find it, yeah, there it is. So I dug a small test hole over here, and as you can see, even underground it's very abundant. Now it doesn't replace all of the stone or something if you're worried about that, but it does seem to be present in very large quantities. I'm not sure if this might be modified later on. As you can see here, there's plenty of stone left to go around. So that's essentially the calcite. Now when we go back to our little testing chamber here, okay, so here we are. The calcite can be smelted into purified calcite. The purified calcite has several applications as well. The first is the creation of a cloak core. Now to do this you will require several diamonds, some wool, and of course a block of Candentinium. The next thing you can make with the purified calcite is the light reflector. Now both the light reflector and the cloak core are components for the final item you can craft, but the light reflector requires some of the purified calcite, also some Candentinium shards and a diamond. Now finally, when you have 8 of these light reflectors and 1 of the cloaking cores, you can create a cloak of invisibility. This is obviously a fairly expensive recipe, but when you wear this you get the invisibility tree effect, which is constantly restarting at 1 second, which essentially means that when you take the cloak off, it will pretty much instantly render you visible. But if we switch to the third person viewing mode, you can see that I'm completely invisible at this time. Finally, there are some other recipes. The first is the pork chop with applesauce. Now, I'm not entirely sure how much health this restores, but I can only guess it's more than a regular pork chop. Of course, we could go test that right now. So let me take some out of here and some pork chops, of course, so we can compare this. So to do this, let's get us some splash potions of harming. There we are. Okay, that hurts quite a bit. So the regular pork chop restores. Oh, I'm still in peaceful mode. Okay. So no, that's the wrong menu. Okay, so the regular pork chop. Oh yes, I'm oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that this is hunger. Right, okay, so I can't test this right now because I'm not hungry and I don't feel like running quite a bit. I'm not sure, maybe there's like a hunger effect. Well, I can't find it. Anyway, so I'm pretty sure this should restore more than a regular pork chop does. I'm also not quite sure why this was added, but it's a nice and fun addition to the mod. Then we have the glowing sand, which can be crafted by surrounding a glowstone block with sand blocks. Now the glowing sand glows, obviously, it's a light source, and In this case you get 8 sand for 8 sand combined with the glowstone block. However, you can also craft a glowing sandstone block, which is crafted by surrounding a glowstone block with 8 blocks of sandstone, but you only get 1 instead of 8 when you do this. Now obviously this is meant to balance out the recipes. However, when you do it like this, you can also create the same sandstone by having, let's see, get some out of here. Okay, so you can also create the glowing sandstone with 4 pieces of glowing sand. So at the moment it's cheaper to create the glowing sand first, because then you can get 2 pieces of sandstone for 8 pieces of glowing sand. So at the moment it's also not possible to revert this recipe, invert this recipe, so you can't uncraft the glowing sandstone. Aside from that, there is also the glowing cobblestone, which is created in a similar fashion, the glowing glass, the glowing dirt, and finally also the glowing stone. Now aside from this, there's also glowing grass, but this is not craftable. This actually occurs naturally. So if we switch to nighttime here, you will see several glowing areas here, and this is naturally occurring glowing grass. So it's added to world generation. It sort of looks kind of, I don't know, unhealthy, kind of overly greenish if you compare the two. But so these essentially act as a light source. Not entirely sure, but they seem to spawn in sort of groups of a couple of random blocks. And on top of all of these additions, there is one more thing I've noticed, which is the addition of the new mob, which is called the Skidding Glow. This mob seems to be fairly resistant. Let's go out here and spawn a couple. So they're currently not yet animated. Also not entirely sure why one of, well, the legs on one side are sort of sticking up there. But these are fairly resistant, so let me get a diamond sword. I should probably also get some armor. Okay, there we go. So now I turn off creative mode, and as you can see, they're very hostile. They also seem to be very fast, and they're pretty strong, so they do not die easily. Okay, I think I may have a bit of more than I can chew here. Also seem to be slowly getting quite a bit of lag. Okay, as you can see, they drop glowstone dust occasionally, which is nice. So that means you don't have to go to the nether to get glowstone dust. But I'm currently not sure if they spawn naturally, but the spawn eggs are available in creative mode or NEI. So that's basically it for this mod. I'm not sure if I missed something. It was quite extensive. If a new version is available, I will probably do an updated spotlight, and of course I will try to mention anything I may have missed in this spotlight, and of course some additional details, because at the moment I'm still getting to know this mod myself. So I will see you guys later.